Alhamdulillah, it is that time again. Increase our worship and plead for forgiveness. Alhamdulillah, it is that time again. Increase our worship and plead for
Need inspiration? Need to brush up on the do's and don'ts during this blessed month? Join us for Sunnah Followers, Ramadan Prep, and allow Sis Laila Nasheeba to walk you through day by day through this blessed month of Ramadan. This will keep your iman tight, your ibadah right, and keep you pushing in the light. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnah Followers.
The human brain is a marvel of creation, intricately designed to seek meaning and connection. During Ramadan, this quest for spiritual fulfillment is heightened. Fasting activates areas of the brain that are associated with empathy, self-control, and reflection. Join us this Thursday at 6:15 p.m. for an enlightening lecture by Dr. Daniel Abdurrahman McBride on the fascinating connection between the brain, religion, and Ramadan.
Ask Sister Laila live. Sister Laila live. Weekly for the show at the hour. Ask Sister Laila live. Sister Laila, invite your friends and family. Get cozy. Ask Sister Laila.
Join us every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Ask Sister Laila Live call-in and answer show. Please join Sis Laila Nasheeba. If you have any questions in regards to this theme, call in at 862-370-2838. Now streaming on various platforms right here on Sunnah Followers.
Whoever's doing your thing. And by the way, what are you getting up here today? Let's talk about it.
Any other questions?
This is gonna be good.
Welcome to Ask Sister Laila Live.
And by the way, what are you getting up here today? Let's talk about it.
Wait a minute.
Time for the Ask Sister Laila Live show.
This is
Lines
gonna
are
be
now
good.
open. 862-370-2838.
Okay, can you guys see me and hear me? Okay, hold on. I got texts coming in. My sister. Okay, Ina alhamdulillah, wa salamallah, wa rasulallah. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Ask Sister Laila live show. Alhamdulillah, and this is where you can come and get your questions about Islam answered, inshallah. And again, if there's a question that I cannot answer, don't worry. I have Sheikh Morsi, inshallah, standing by, and also we have Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli, who I could possibly call, and also Dr. Ibrahim Darmali. Okay, so if there's a question I can't answer, don't worry, type it and ask it, and inshallah, if I can't answer, I'll get you in tune with someone who can. And also, there's a couple of ways you can get your questions asked. For those of you who are watching me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, those are my Arabs. Twitter, more Arabs. Instagram and Twitch and Rumbo. Rumbo's in the house. All you have to do is type your question on the screen, and inshallah, I should be able to see it and in turn answer it. Or if you would like to use the microphone, feel free. Feel free. And I repeat, where is it at? I did put it up here. Feel free to join our Zoom room. Okay, at www.sunnahfollowers.net. And you can come in there, you'll click on a tab that says Zoom room. That'll bring you into my live Zoom room, and you can talk with us here, use the microphone and all of that. Or if you go to my website at sunnahfollowers.net, there's also a chat box. You can click on the chat box and type your message. That's going to send your message automatically to me, inshallah, through my WhatsApp program. Or you can call using WhatsApp. That's the number, 862-370-2838. So there's, several different ways that you can get your questions about Islam asked. And again, like I said, what makes my Q&A different, because everybody tries to do a Q&A show. What is it that makes Laila Nasheeba's Q&A different? All my answers are based on the Quran and the authentic hadiths. And I'll also throw in examples that relate to your question from the original companions of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's what makes my Q&A show distinct and different, from many of these others that are just based on people's opinions and methabs and whatever they use, because some of the answers they give are just ridiculous. Remember, guys, the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined by Allah. If something is haram, Allah will clearly say that whatever the thing is haram. The things that Allah does not mention are all concessions. And as our prophet said, we have to learn to accept the concessions of Allah and stop making his concessions haram because we don't know the answer. That's the thing. If you don't know, just say you don't know. But don't dare sit up and lie on Allah or lie on the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And a lot of these people do that, believe it or not. And okay, I just gotta, by the way, whoever this person is, thank you. There's a person that just joined Wix. Do y'all see that? And they sent, so my system is working, and she sent me a question. She said, please give advice for older new convert who work in corporate settings and no other hijabis. Let me ask this person, guys, because this, my new shahadas come first. I put my new shahadas first. Let me deal with her. I want to see if she can hear me. I want to know. Can you hear me? I'm getting ready to type. Can you hear me on YouTube? Because I rather answer with voice because of typing. I got big fingers. And so it's hard for me to type. Plus, I have arthritis. Layla's old. She's 63. Keep telling y'all I ain't no young girl. So it's easier for me to type to talk than type. Okay? Did the person, okay, I'll see if that person answers me. Then, yes. Yes. Oh, Shamsa, is that the person? Shamsa, can the person that sent me the message hear me on the Wix? Okay, hold on. I want to work this, y'all. Can you hear? I can't see. I can't type. Can you hear me on YouTube? Girl, I cannot type. I hope the person can hear me on YouTube. Is Mina here? Does anybody know? Is Mina here? And Fame, you're not on the Wix thing, are you? Is it just
No, I don't.
It's
I don't
just
have
Mina?
that.
Nobody else I made a moderator on Wix?
No.
I'm messed up. See, when I needed Mina, she ain't here. The one time I need her, she not here. Because I cannot type. It's coming out bad because of my arthritis. Anyway, let me just answer the question. I'm going to answer the question here. First of all, before I answer any questions, I want everyone to know that Ramadan has begun. It's official. Everybody should be fasting Saturday. Saturday is the first day of fasting, and I want to remind all my new shahadas to please make your intentions to fast tonight, since it's after Isha. All right, and make your intentions to fast for the entire month, so that way you don't have to worry about doing it every night. Okay, and let's get to her question. This sister is an elderly sister, I guess, and she's a new convert. And she said she can hear. Okay, good. MashaAllah. Thank you, sister, because my assistant who takes the calls, she's missing the one time I needed her. Okay, what suggestion do I give to an older woman who's a professional? Okay, I just retired. And I'm an older woman, and I was a professional. I was a manager, okay? Believe it or not, guys, you will outshine all those other corporate people. You dress the way we are supposed to dress. We look more elegant. We look more beautiful. We look more distinct in our hijab than the Kafir women look naked. I used to wear my abayas and my kimar like this to my different business meetings, and it never mattered. I've always received compliments on how nice I look, how much better I look. I even had Kafir men trying to make a play for Layla. Oh yeah, I had to check them. Had to check them. Okay? So your hijab should not matter. And if it does matter, then you might have to consider a different career, because, you can be stylish and still be covered. Just wear the beautiful abayas that we have and wear the kimars to match and keep it moving. Even if you go to the Arabic world, you go to the Emirates, you go to the Gulf, you go to Kuwait. There's a lot. My sister was a businesswoman. She worked for the oil company. She wear abayas and she wear hijabs. Okay? So it doesn't matter. The advice I give you is to, first of all, have confidence in yourself as a Muslim. And it's normal for you as a new convert to be worried about it, because you just converted to Islam and your faith has not yet grown. So you might be a little insecure. I would suggest you come to my classes every day. Come to my 6:30 class every day. And inshallah, the more you learn about Allah and the more you learn about this beautiful way of life, you will have the confidence to obey Allah and dress the way Allah commands and not care what other people may think. Okay? Because you'll be surprised. The non-Muslims rather see you covered at a business meeting than uncovered. I know. In the 36 years I worked, we'd go to business meetings And they used to talk about the women that came in with the tight dresses on where you could see their behind. They used to talk about the women with the tracks in their head, about how cheap they look. But they never spoke badly about me. It was always Sister Laila. Laila looked so nice. She looked so elegant. She looked so poised. She looked so chic. I was even asked if I was modeling. They used to ask me, are you a model? No. So you'd be surprised. It doesn't bother the non-Muslims. It's you. That's your personal jinn getting in your head. So don't let him get in your head. Just dress elegantly. Put on your abayas, your khimar, and carry yourself with the dignity that you have as a Muslim woman, and keep it moving. You'd be surprised. The non-Muslims are not going to care about how you dress. Okay, and that's the truth. And Allah knows best. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, the first question is, just like how I got rid of my Bibles, should I get rid of the rest of my religious books that are not Islamic?
Yes.
Or keep them as reference books?
How can they be references? Alhamdulillah, you are a new Shahada now. Okay, and those other books are lies. Allah tells us that he destroyed the Bible. Allah destroyed the Bible, and Allah destroyed the Torah. Allah tells us that when he sent the Quran down, he destroyed all the other books that came before it. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Quran replaced every book that came before it. And any other religion is not the truth. Allah says in the Quran, anyone who dies upon a belief system other than Islam, it will never be accepted from them. So since Allah doesn't accept any belief system other than Islam, how can those books be a reference to you? They're lies. They're man-made. Throw all that stuff out. Just toss them in the garbage and keep it moving. The only books you need are Islamic books. You need the Quran first and foremost. You need a tafsir book. Ibn Kathir's tafsir book. Secondly, to help explain the Quran. And then you need to buy Sahih Bukhari hadiths. Try to buy the whole collection, book by book, of Sahih al-Bukhari. And then you need to buy the whole collection of Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim. And then you can buy Riyadh al-Salihin. Then you can buy the 40 hadiths of Imam Nawawi. You know, books like that. Then go to atleeonline.com and buy as many books as you can of Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atlee's, because his books address belief and they address the Sunnah. And also go to Amazon.com and buy Kareem Abu Zaid's trilogy, Get to Know Your Lord, and Diluting El Wala Wal Bara, Volume 1 and 2. Those are the only books you need. That's it. You don't need any other books, to be honest. Okay, but yes, any books that are not Islamic and not you definitely toss them in the garbage, because if you don't toss them in the garbage, your personal jinn is going to make you try to go and read those books and go back to what you used to be, a person who was in darkness. Remember, you were in darkness and Allah guided you to the light. You don't want to end up going back to darkness, so get rid of that crap. And Allah knows best. Okay.
The next question is, since it says in the Quran, is it required to have to cover the bosom when wearing hijab, unlike these other styles we see women wear that do not?
Yes, the way you see me dressed is how you should dress. Allah doesn't tell us to wear turbans. By the way, it's haram. It's haram for Muslim women to wear turbans because this is imitating men. Turbans are a dress for men, not women. You find a lot of Muslim women today wearing their hijabs behind their back. That's the opposite of what Allah says. Allah says in the Quran, "O you women who believe, draw your veils over your bosom, over your chest." He goes on to say, "Do not pull them to the back like you used to do." Y'all see how history repeats itself. Women today are dressing like the non-believers dressed back in the Prophet's days. The women used to put their hijabs to the back so you could see their chest, their breast. This is not the correct way to dress. You should be wearing a khimar like what I have on. It should be long enough to cover your bosom. It should be, your khimar should be to the front, covering your bosom, not short where your bosom is hanging out. That's not the proper dress. And I've given you the dalil, and Allah knows best. Very good question. Muslim women pay attention to her. Yeah, go ahead.
Are medieval anime or games like Skyrim permissible if they have elements of beliefs that are fantasy and non-Islamic beliefs?
Okay, the things, again, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the lawful and the unlawful have been clearly defined by Allah. So if something is haram, there will be a verse from the Quran that says medieval games like Skyrim are haram. Anime is haram. Allah doesn't mention anything about games, anything about a medieval anime, anything of that stuff. And so, like the Prophet said, learn to accept the concessions of Allah. So what does that mean? So Allah doesn't mention anything about games. It's not haram to play games. And medieval is just a period of time. That ain't got nothing to do with religion. That's just a period of time, the medieval period. That was the time of King Arthur, okay? So it's lawful to play games, but you're gonna have to use your common sense. You should have enough common sense to know if the game involves pornography, because pornography is haram. Allah says, lower your gaze. Do not look at that which will lead you to sin. So if I'm playing a game and the game has sex in it, the game has naked people in it, body parts on the screen, I should know that this is a game I can't play, because it involves looking at something that I should not see. And our eyes will either intercede on us or on the day of judgment, or testify against us. Your eyes are going to say, "Oh Allah, she used to play a game and look at men's private parts running across the screen." So, games are not haram, but you need to look and see what type of game you're playing. If the game that you're playing entails haram things, then you need to find something else. I don't know what this game is, because there's a million games out there, and I like to play games too. But you know what's lawful. You know what's unlawful. You know what you're supposed to look at and what you're not. If the game involves robbing banks, you know that Islam, that opposes our belief system. We have allegiance to this religion. Our religion is against robbing banks. Our religion is against murder. Our religion is against sex out of wedlock. So you want to make sure that whatever game that you're playing does not impede upon that. So games are not haram, but the type of game you're playing, you need to make sure that it doesn't violate our Islamic morals and values, and that it doesn't entail haram things. So you make that decision yourself, because I don't know what this game is, and Allah knows best.
The next question is, were any of the companions during the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from places in Asia like China or those countries in that region, for example?
Salman al-Farsi was from Iran, Persia. And yes, Islam spread it. Islam spread it from out of Arabia to the other parts of the world. We have Muslim Chinese people. Yes, Islam spread it all over the globe. Okay, but do I know of a Chinese companion? No. But Salman al-Farsi was Persian. And under the caliphate of Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, and Uthman, the Islam spread it all over the world. And we ended up having Chinese people and stuff too. Yes. And Allah knows best.
The next question is, if Adam the prophet was the first human, what was his skin color?
Okay, Allah speaks about that in the Quran. Wait a minute. Okay, here it is. Let me put it here. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when Allah created Adam, he ordered the angel Jibril to go to the earth and collect the dirt. Jibril went and the earth refused to give the dirt up. So then Allah sent Michael. The earth refused Michael too. So Allah then sent the angel of death. The earth was so afraid, it told the angel of death to take what you want. So the angel of death, he collected black dirt, brown dirt, yellow dirt, red dirt, white dirt, beige dirt, pink dirt, and brought it all back to Allah. And Allah mixed it all up and created Adam. And that's why you are the color you are, whatever it is. That's why I am the color I am, whatever I am. And that's why all of us are of the different colors we are. So what color was his skin? The color of all the dirt on earth. And Allah knows best. See how you answer that, guys? We stick with the Quran. We stick with the Hadith. There ain't nothing you can't answer. Even racial stuff. Next question.
The next question is, the Prophet said there's no harm in narrating stories from the past scriptures as long as they don't contradict the Quran. Is this true?
No, he didn't say that. Who said that? No. That's another example of people speaking without knowledge because they don't know the hadiths. What are the hadiths? The hadiths are the things that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said and did. That sounds like somebody's fatwa opinion. That ain't no hadith. We do have a hadith. And what's the source? Sahih Bukhari. One day Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, came upon a Torah that belonged to one of the Jews of Medina. Unlike a lot of the companions, Umar knew how to read. So did his daughter Hafsa. She was the only wife of the Prophet that knew how to read. So when Umar came upon this Torah, he started reading it. And he was standing outside the courtyard of the mosque and he saw the Prophet come out. So Umar went to the Prophet. He said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, listen to this." And he started reading. And then he said, "Listen to this. This sounds like the Quran." And he started reading. The Prophet started walking away. Umar followed him. He said, "Listen to this. Doesn't this sound like the Quran too?" And he started reading. And then the Prophet's face turned red. And finally, the Prophet turned around. He said, "Umar, don't you know? First of all, the Quran replaced every book that came before it. He said Allah destroyed the Torah. Allah destroyed the Injil. Allah destroyed all those other books when he sent down the Quran. He said that book that you're reading, you don't know what's truth and you don't know what's falsehood, because it's not Allah's original book. So what you're saying may be true and what you're saying may be false. He said, stick to the Quran. Stick to the Quran. Stick to the Quran, because the Quran are the words of Allah and there's no falsehood in that. He said, and don't you know, Umar, that even if Moses were standing here today, he'd have no choice but to follow my Sunnah, even if that stuff was true. Even if that stuff you're reading is true, it doesn't count. Because if Moses were here, he'd have to follow my Sunnah. So that's what the prophet said. And I'm, put it in plain, simple English, paraphrasing it. But that's what the prophet said. He did not tell us to read their books. And when the prophet said that, you want to know what Umar did? Umar took that Torah and threw it down. And he never, ever, ever in his life read any book other than the Quran after that. Now that's the truth. If the companions were living today and they saw these men on the internet reading out the Bible, reading out the Torah, they would be upset, because the companions didn't do that. Because they understood that the Quran is the truth and them other books don't exist. We also have a hadith where the prophet said, stay away from that which is doubtful. Because if something is doubtful, you can fall into sin. So the companions would never read a book of lies that they don't know what's truth or not. They stayed away from that. And they also knew that even if when Jesus comes back, he's not coming back as a prophet. When Jesus comes back, he's coming back as a leader, and even he will reinstate the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, not Moses, not his or anyone else's. So whoever told you that you can read and narrate stories from the Bible, when the Bible don't exist, they don't know this religion, because that's a lie. Nowhere did the Prophet Muhammad say that. He told us to stay away from those books. There's another hadith. The prophet said, stay away from those books because you don't know what's truthful in it and you don't know what is it. My Sunnah. He said, my Sunnah replaces every other prophet's. And Allah knows best. We got to stop lying on the Prophet Muhammad. We have to stop lying on Allah. What need is there to read some other book? You want to know about Jonah? Like the prophet told another companion. Allah tells us all about Jonah in the Quran. You want to know about Solomon? He's in the Quran. You want to know about David? He's in the Quran. You want to know about Jesus? He's in the Quran. You want to know about Moses? So there's no need for us to read no other book written by man, because the books written by Allah, the books sent by Allah are gone, except for the Quran. And Allah knows best. I hope that's clear. Stay away from those brothers that do that. They don't understand the religion. Like I told you guys, the problem that we have is Tawheed or Rububiyah. Most Muslims today do not believe in the lordship of Allah. and they have a problem understanding, or they have a problem understanding Allah's lordship. If you understood the lordship of Allah, you wouldn't touch no book written by no man. And Allah knows best. Yes.
The next question is, can we have the Quran playing in the background while reading or doing any of our hobbies? Or is that disrespecting since we are not being attentive about listening to it at that moment?
Okay, we have some fanatical Muslims out there who will tell you, oh, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. They'll take that verse about be attentive to the Quran, and they'll take it to mean that if you shouldn't have the Quran recited unless you listen. No, it doesn't have to be that fanatical. Allah would rather you listen to the Quran than listen to music. You driving in your car to listen to the words of Allah being recited, than listening to music. So yes, you can have Quran playing in the background while you read. You can have the Quran playing in the background while you cook. Not only that, but it sets the mood. The Quran is also a cure for the sick heart. Just listening to the recitation, it can calm your heart. Just listening to the recitation, can take away that loneliness, can take away that sadness. So for those people that tell you that they're a little bit too fanatical, no, there's nothing wrong with you playing it in the background, and Allah knows best. Yeah.
The next question is, can a person take a period stopper pill or be on birth control during Umrah and Ramadan so the person can perform their prayers and don't have to make up any days?
Any woman that does that, this is a woman that has a problem with the lordship of Allah. I get this question all the time. Most Muslims do not believe in the lordship of Allah. Allah is the creator. You can take them pills all you want to. How many women take those pills and their periods still come and they bleed for months afterwards? The Prophet Muhammad didn't tell women to take pills to stop their period. Aisha radiallahu anha made Hajj and made Umrah and got her menses. The Prophet Muhammad tells us that a woman's menses is from Allah. It's Allah's way of giving you a break from your daily obligations. Allah gives that menses during Ramadan because fasting is hard for a woman. Praying every day is hard for women. As Allah says, we're the weaker of the two. We're not as strong as men physically. We need a break away from our religious duties. So your menses is a blessing from Allah. It is not a curse from Him. And women who take pills to try to stop it, these are women who have been touched by Shaitan. Your personal jinn wants you to become a fanatic, and he wants you to think that you can change the qadr of Allah. So he'll whisper to you to be a fanatic and make this deen harder on yourself. And as a result, these women end up sick, bleeding for months and months, and they done messed themselves up. Because whenever we start messing with Allah's decree, it's going to always be repercussions. So you can take it, but is that Islamic? No, that is not Islamic. And I wouldn't recommend that. The Prophet wouldn't recommend that. And Allah doesn't recommend that. So you women need to learn to submit to the qadr of Allah and stop allowing your personal jinn to get a grip on your forelock. Because that's what that is. They're gripping you by the forelock, touching you by the forelock to push you to make Allah angry. Allah doesn't like people who think they can change His qadr. And He usually shows women that by making them bleed, and they can't stop. They end up sick, all kind of cancer. Some women get cancer from them pills. That's what happens when we tamper with the lordship of Allah, and Allah knows best. Okay.
The next question is fasting and occupying oneself with hobbies the best way to prevent the temptation of erotic thoughts?
For some people, it depends on the person. Some people can fast all they want to, but if they got a sick mind, ain't nothing they got to, it ain't gonna help. That depends on your faith. Your belief in Allah is what keeps you in control. Remember, guys, the human soul is criminal by nature. The human soul is attracted to everything that's bad and dirty. And if you're a person that's not practicing Islam, your aqidah, your belief in Allah is not as it should be, your personal jinn is going to take over. Your soul is going to have you doing all kind of stupid stuff that the average sane person wouldn't do. Remember, Allah speaks in the Quran about how some of us, those of us who are deaf, dumb, and blind to this religion, how we're worse than animals. So what's worse than an animal? A person that plays with himself all day and night. A person that can't do nothing except play with themselves. That's filthy. That's worse than an animal, because even an animal knows when to stop. Even an animal knows when to go into heat and when not to. So if you're one of those people that's got that perversion and it's not in control, then that's a sign that you are lacking. You're lacking in your belief and your practice. You need to spend less time playing with yourself, less time watching TV, and more time learning your religion, learning aqidah, learning what your role in life is. Allah did not create you to play with yourself. Allah didn't create you to be occupied with erotica. That's a sickness. That's a mental illness. Okay? So you need to stop all that nonsense and make dua. Ask Allah to give you control over yourself. Ask Allah to protect you from the evil of yourself. And then you need to get busy learning this religion. You should be joining my 6:30 class every day to learn what it means to believe in Allah. Because if you don't have your belief system straight, fasting is just starving. Okay, that's a mental illness. If that's all you do, something's wrong with you. And I'm not trying to scare you, but you should get scared, because that means your faith is messed up. Where's your aqidah? What is your purpose? You think you were created to play with yourself? What are you doing for Allah? When is the last time you prayed? When is the last time you did a good deed for Allah? Do you know the basics of your religion? If I were to ask you the pillars of the prayer, can you tell me what they are? If I were to ask you what are the pillars of fasting, can you tell me? If I were to ask you the rulings of menses, can you tell me? If you can't, then something's wrong with you. That means you're wasting your time. You're not learning your deen, and that's why you become less than an animal. Okay? Allah knows best.
The next question is, regarding games, are games of dice permitted?
Okay, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was clear. It's haram to play with dice. Period. Dot. We can't play with dice. We can't have dice. We have a hadith when Aisha radiallahu anha rented her apartment. She rented her apartment out to some people, and she was told that they were playing with dice. So she put them out. She said, dice is haram. No one a person that has no fear of Allah and plays with dice cannot live in my house. And she evicted them. So you cannot play with dice, and Allah knows best.
The next question is, Should we always say Alhamdulillah when waking up because every day is another opportunity and a blessing of being alive?
There's nothing in the Quran that says that's an obligation. That's something that I encourage my students to do, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that it's best to remember Allah. Let the first thing that you do when you wake up be remembering Allah, and let the last thing you do be remembering Allah. But is that an obligation like wearing the hijab? Is that an obligation like praying? No. But it's something that you will hear me say a lot to my students, to remember Allah as often as we can. And Allah knows best.
Okay, the next questions, let me turn to Zoom. The first question on here is, my sister was hanging out with her friend and her friend's mom. When they were dropping her off at her house, the mom, who's an elderly Chinese lady, mentioned that she saw a jinn walking around the house trying to enter. I suggested.
Wait a minute, hold on for 1 second. Before you get to, let me deal with this person here. First of all, for this non-Muslim, that's what you are. You're a non-Muslim. First of all, before you come in here asking me about my religion of Islam, you have to understand that there are a lot of hadiths that are not authentic. Do you understand? And I don't deal with hadiths that are not authentic. So before you come to ask me, a Muslim, about my belief system and to speak about any of my people, you need to go learn my religion, because I don't deal with hadiths that are not authentic. And we're not going to have anyone come into our stream bad mouthing any of the female companions or our prophet. Just like I would never go into your stream bad mouthing Jesus or what you believe in. So I'm going to tell you just this one time, get out of my stream. If you type in anything else, we'll ban you permanently from here. Okay? Do I have moderators on YouTube? If he types anything else about any of the original companions or anything negative, get that person out of here. This is a Q&A for Muslims, not for Kafirs. I don't deal with Kafirs. I don't come in your stream. Don't come in mine. All right, go ahead with your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, the question was, my sister was hanging out with her friend and her friend's mom. When they were dropping her off at her house, the mom, who is an elderly Chinese lady, mentioned that she saw a jinn walking around the house trying to enter. I suggested that she pray her daily prayers along with Surah Baqarah and Ayatul Kursi. What would you suggest?
I would suggest that she goes and seeks some medical attention, because jinns are part of the unseen world. What does that mean? You cannot see a jinn in its original state. So this woman, like most people, there are a lot of people in this world that suffer with schizophrenia. They have left brain issues, as Dr. McBride teaches. There's a lot of schizophrenic, bipolar, mentally ill people. So I don't waste my time with people like that. I'll tell them to go seek some medical help. In her mind, she probably thinks she saw a jinn because her right brain is not functioning. Her left brain is. In her mind, she probably thought it was a jinn, but it could have been her shadow. For people who suffer with schizophrenia, they can see a shadow on the wall, and it doesn't click that it's them because their right brain is frozen. I worked in this field for 36 years, so I know what I'm talking about. That's why I love Dr. McBride's classes. So in her mind, it's a jinn. And if she were to talk to it, she would think that it's answering her back because, again, that right brain is frozen. So if I were you, I wouldn't waste my time dealing with her. I would just tell her sister, go get some medical help, and then you go on about your business. There's a lot of sick people out there who need some psychiatric help. Allah's got medicine for that. There's medicine that can help balance her right brain to her left. And that's the answer you should have given her. That's why you don't put yourself in a situation to play scholar. Because if you were a person of knowledge, you would have known that the jinn are part of the unseen world. None of us can see them. And Allah knows best.
Next question is, if you went to the Taraweeh prayer if you want to pray the Taraweeh prayer at home, can you put on the live prayer at the masjid and follow it?
No. And this is a good question because Ramadan is here. I want all Muslims listening to me. You cannot pray on the internet. Allah is clear in the Quran, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is clear in the authentic hadiths. If you want the reward of praying with the Imam, you have to be with him physically and standing with him physically behind him. So you cannot pray on the internet. You're not getting no rewards. That's not a prayer. Okay? If you want to perform the Taraweeh, you have to go to the mosque to get the reward with the Imam. Or you can pray, if you're a woman, pray your Taraweeh at home by yourself. I want you sisters to know, like I told you guys, when you read the hadiths about the blessings of congregational prayer, that applies to men, not women. A woman gets more reward praying by herself in her home than behind the Imam at the mosque. So if you are a sister, turn off the TV and make your own Taraweeh, and you getting just as much reward and more. If you a man, turn off the TV and hit the masjid. You should be praying at the mosque behind the Imam. And Allah knows best. Very good question. I'm glad you asked that.
Next, Sister Precious would like to ask her questions. Precious, go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is, can Shaitan hold a soul hostage?
Allah has not given Shaitan no power like that. No. That's Sufism. That's not Islam. We just went over in our class. What does Allah say? Shaitan does not have the power to compel anyone. He can't make you do nothing. And he does not have the power to hold anything. He can't even open up a door. Okay? So that's not true. Whoever's told you that, tell them to go learn again. Tawheed al-Rububiyah. As Allah says in the Quran, there is no power and there is no might except with him. The power is with Allah. The power is with Allah. The might is with him, not with Iblis. And Iblis is going to announce that. Before he enters the hellfire, he's going to turn and look at everybody and say, don't blame me. I didn't have the power to make you do anything. You chose to follow me. You chose to listen to me. All I could do is whisper. All Shaitan can do is whisper to a soul. But he has no power over you. Unless Allah gives it to him. And Allah tells us in the Quran that he will only, as far as jinn possession, we talked about possession of the jinn. The jinn can only possess you if you are a sinful Muslim or a hypocrite or an unbeliever. Allah says in the Quran, do you know who the jinns descend upon? They descend upon the sinful Muslims, the unbelievers, the hypocrites. Those are the people that get possessed. That's why I tell y'all, stop blaming everything on Shaitan. If you possessed by your jinn, something wrong with you. You got issues in your aqidah. You got issues in your practice of this religion. And even then, a jinn can be expelled. So no, Shaitan doesn't hold the soul. He doesn't have that type of problem. That he doesn't have that type of power, and Allah knows best.
Okay, so the next question is, let me see if I can read it good. It's can Shaitan block a soul? Can Shaitan block the soul from entering in the body when a person?
Shaitan has no power. That's
weird?
None of that is
Okay.
Islam. That's Christianity. That ain't Islam. We don't believe in none of that garbage. Like I said, Shaitan has no power over the soul or anything else. That's Christianity. That's not Islam. So whoever that is, tell them they have to learn Islam. Don't learn Christianity. Don't learn Sufism. Sufism is mixed with a lot of, there's certain types of Sufism that mixes Christianity. We're not that. No, no, no. Shaitan has no power over you. So anything about him taking your soul, that's not Islam. No, that's Christianity. We don't believe in any of that. Yes.
Okay, then that was it. I knew that, but
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you got that's Christianity. And by the way, here's a question up here I don't want to forget. This sister asked, is it true green and white was the Prophet Muhammad's favorite colors? There's a lot of hadiths that speak about the Prophet's favorite colors. There is an authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim that says the Prophet liked the color green. There's also another authentic hadith that says the Prophet liked the color white. There's also another authentic hadith that mentions that he liked the color red. So he liked green and he liked white. He liked a lot of colors. Were they his favorites? Allah knows best. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the brother here says some speakers who do stories of the prophets. Yes, but that's wrong. That's what I tell you guys. When you guys read, there's a very famous book written by Ibn Kathir. His book on the stories of the prophets. You have to be careful when you read that book because Ibn Kathir took a lot of his stuff from the people of the book. We don't do that. It's best to stay away from that. I'm not putting Ibn Kathir down, but he was a human being. A lot of the stuff he got from what he was told from the Jews. Now, we stay away from that. The Prophet Muhammad said, stay away from that which is doubtful. Stay away from that. You know, if you want to know about the prophets, quote what's in the Quran. Yeah, but a lot of those brothers do that and they should not. They shouldn't do that. I don't even recommend you guys read those books. I really don't. I don't recommend reading any of those books. There's enough books put out today about the prophets of Allah that don't have that junk in it. So you can just bypass those other books that have that stuff in it. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Can I translate the Quran? Okay, here. Okay, go ahead. Can you see the rest of the questions? Go ahead. I was trying to get the ones off of Twitch. Hold on. Here, wait, here's a couple on Twitch. Hold on. Yes, Ramadan is tomorrow, is Saturday. Yes, and by the way, the sister here is asking me about the fasting for the whole month, the intention. That's what I'm going to speak about tomorrow in my 6:30 class. Yes, just have the intention in your heart that since you know Ramadan starts tomorrow, that you're going to, fast the entire month. And that way you don't have to worry about it. But when your menses starts, when your menses comes, you're going to have to renew that intention. But this one intention will take you all the way through until your menses come or something happens, which you're going to talk about tomorrow, that will cause you to have to renew your intention. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. That was the only one I got left on Twitch. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the next question. I think that's Dr. Brother Muhammad. Okay. Can I recite?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Sister Lotus. Hold on. I see Sister Lotus. She was the one that asked about to prevent the temptation. Okay. I see her question. Sister Lotus, you still here? Okay, let me answer her question correctly, because I see it's different when I look at it. She's asking, is fasting and hobbies the best way to prevent the temptation? I thought the person was asking about if you're a person that likes to do that stuff all the time. Okay. Sister Lotus, to answer this question, yes, it's good if you're a person who's Akita, if you don't fall in the first category of people. If you're not like the first scenario that I spoke about, if you are good, which you are, you're a good, strong, practicing Muslim, you're trying to do your best, and you don't, but you human, like I am. We're human. We get desires. Ain't nobody gay. I mean, so if we're in a case like this, yes, occupy yourself with remembrance of Allah. For me, how do I deal with my thoughts? I have them a lot. I'm human. Who don't get erotic thoughts? Plus, I'm a writer. I'm always writing, and that's why I teach. That's why you see me on this internet giving lectures twice a day. Why do I do lectures twice a day? It keeps my mind from going to erotica. So anything that helps you to remember Allah, like fasting, prayer, teaching Islam, learning the Quran, that stuff keeps you balanced. Because when you turn on the TV, that's all you see is erotica. And it's going to take you there. If you listen to music, erotica, it's going to take you there. So yes, to busy yourself with remembrance of Allah, that's the best way to keep those thoughts away. That's why I'm on here teaching all the time. Do y'all think I'd be on here teaching if I was married? If I had a husband sitting here, do y'all think Layla would be? I mean, seriously, do y'all think I'd be sitting here right now if I had a husband sitting here? Oh, no. No way. Jose, Layla be on vacation, probably for a couple of weeks, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Okay. But yes, for the women like Sister Lotus, yes, you keep yourself busy remembering Allah, fasting, praying, teaching Islam, hobbies, whatever. And Allah knows best. Since that question came from you, I knew how to answer. Okay, go ahead, Fatman.
The next question is, can I recite the Quran in phonetics, the transliteration? I was reading and a brother told me I can't because it can change the meaning because of improper tajweed. Okay. I asked for evidence and got nothing.
I answered that question for you last week, Brother Muhammad. Didn't you see the short? Your picture is in the short. Everybody wonders who's that handsome man that Layla got in her short video. I answered that last week. There's whoever told you that is crazy. You want to know why he's crazy? Because you ain't Arabic. And what did the Prophet Muhammad say? What did the Prophet Muhammad say about the person who doesn't speak Arabic? And we make mistakes when we recite. We get double the reward because of our intentions and our effort. So that's why he can't bring you no evidence, because he made it up. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, for the person who recites the Quran with difficulty, he receives double the reward for his effort and his intention. So yes, you can recite the Quran in phonetics. How else are you going to learn how to recite it? You have to write it down so you can understand how to pronounce it, because it's a language. Arabic is not a religion, guys. It's a language. Okay, so don't be bothered by those brothers. Those brothers are crazy. Okay, the prophet said you're getting more reward, even if his tajweed was perfect, which it probably ain't. Do you know how many Arabs cannot recite with tajweed? Some of the best reciters in the world, they are not Arabs. Arabic is not their language. Arabic people struggle. You think they don't? Ask Dr. Asim, who's a Quran Tajweed teacher. The best reciters we got come from out of Africa, and Arabic is not their language. Okay? So whoever told you that is crazy. That's not Islam. And that's why, he hasn't given you no evidence, because there ain't none. I've given you the evidence. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever recites the Quran with difficulty, he will receive double the reward because of his effort. And Allah knows best. Yeah.
The next question is, what type of pants are appropriate to wear as a Muslim woman?
You can wear pants as long as they are wide-legged, like harem pants. Aisha, radiallahu anha, used to always wear pants underneath her abayas, as did a lot of the Arabic women. Who were the Arabic women? The Arabic women were women of the camels. They also rode horses. How do you think they straddled a horse? You think they sat sideways? No, that's how European women rode horses, and they fell off all the time. The Arabic women wore harem pants. So any pants that are wide-legged, harem pants, or what they call the Jamila Pasha sales. What are they called again, guys? Begin with the P. Come on. What's those pants that Jamila sell, y'all?
Palazzo pants.
Yes, palazzos. You can wear palazzos, or you can wear harem pants, but you cannot wear straight leg tight pants. Remember, anything that we wear outside the house as a Muslim woman should be loose, where the shape of that body part is not seen. Okay, so as long as the elephant leg pants, harem pants, palazzos, any of those, and Allah knows best.
The next question is, if I am a woman and I'm praying the Taraweeh at the mosque, do I have to stay there for the whole prayer, or can I pray some of the rakats and leave?
Okay, you can leave. You don't have to stay there for the whole prayer. Some people can't stay for the whole prayer. Some people can't do, or especially the elderly women and elderly men. Some of the elderly men and women can't do the whole thing. Okay, so do what you can, and then, make witr and go home. And Allah knows best. Or wait till you get home and do some more, and then make witr. And Allah knows best.
Is it true the crescent isn't the official symbol of Islam?
That's true. This is something that came about long after the companions. We don't have a symbol. Islam has no symbol. Okay? Okay. You're doing good, Sister Lotus. Your questions are good. I think you asked some of the best questions. Lotus, you're doing excellent. Even my other new shahadas, My other new shahadas are listening, and they said you're asking what they want to ask too. That's why I ain't got to look over here, because you asking the same thing that they wanted. May Allah bless you. Look at all the blessings you get. Okay, here's another question. Is it authentic regarding Taraweeh? No, 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 no. No, 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 not 8 or, well, I'm going to be honest. Let me answer this question. You can pray for the Taraweeh prayer. You can pray as many rakats as you personally want. If you want to pray 20 rakats, you can. If you want to pray 120 rakats, you can. But when you are at the mosque, you pray and follow the imam. However many rakats the imam is praying, that's what you do. You follow him. Okay? So that's the better way to answer that. Because sometimes Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, he would pray sometimes 23 rakats. But that's when he was by himself. Umar would sometimes pray more. But when they're leading the prayer, the imams try to follow the sunnah of the prophet. And the reason why they do that is so as not to overburden the people. Okay? So when you at the mosque, you pray whatever he's praying. Even if the imam is doing a 23 rakat, you follow the imam, Brother Muhammad. If you want the full reward, you have to follow the imam. You're a man. So however many rakats that the imam does for Taraweeh, you must follow him. Yes, and Allah knows best. Yeah. It's a voluntary prayer. Exactly. The Taraweeh, I'm going to talk about that too Monday. I'm going to talk about the Taraweeh prayer, inshallah, on Monday. And the Taraweeh prayer is a highly recommended voluntary prayer. So since it's a highly recommended voluntary prayer, it can be as many rakats as you want. But most imams pray the number of rakats they pray to follow what the prophet did, so as not to overburden the people who are following them. And Allah knows best. Okay. Okay, this person here says, is there a book list on your site? Yes. I recommend for the books I'm teaching. You see, look at the ticker that I have here. The books I have here, I would suggest you guys go to Amazon and get the trilogy by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. Okay, this is the diluting well bara. That's that trilogy. Get that trilogy from Amazon. I recommend all Muslims have Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim as part of their library, because those are the two authentic collections of hadiths. Okay. That trilogy of Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid is Aqidah. That's the best I've seen and written in English for Aqidah. Very detailed, very thorough, though, that trilogy. I highly recommend that to the English speaking world. But I'm going to tell you, you can't read it and learn and teach yourself. You have to come to my classes to learn the meaning of it, because it's going to be confusing for you. You cannot teach yourself this religion. You have to learn it from the people of knowledge. Yes. But I suggest that all of you who are new shahadas buy the trilogy of Kareem Abu Zaid. That covers everything you need to know about Aqidah. And then get Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. And then go to Muhammad Saeed Atli's website and order anything there. All his books are good. Okay. Yeah, Sister Lotus, you're not addicted. I know. So since I know who you were, that's why I answered it differently. But I do have some people here. I have some young brothers. That's why I didn't know who typed it. I thought it was one of my young brothers here. I got some young brothers on this website that got a problem with porn. I got a problem with some of the brothers here with their porn. And I keep telling these brothers it's a sickness. And these are not converts. These are my Somali brothers. They're Somalians. They're my Bantus, the curly heads. And I told them to get married because they're 20. They're in their 20s now. It's time to get married. But since they can't get married because they say none of the families want to marry them because they ain't got no education and they ain't got no good paying job, they got an addiction to the porno. That's what happens when you come to America. Coming to America. Should have kept them in Somali. Yeah. But now that I see that you weren't they, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I thought you were one of them asking again when they already know the answer. Okay, here's another question. Since a niqab is not required, is it considered something extra? No. I keep telling you guys that's not a niqab is not even part of the Arabic dress. Niqab is from Turkish people. Arabic women didn't wear burqas. That's not part of the Arabic women's dress in history. If you go to a museum and look at how the women in Arabia, they never wore burqas. That's Turkish people. And no, Allah doesn't give you no credit for something, no extra reward for something that he didn't make a habit. The Prophet's wives, they used to wear their khimars like I got on mine. This is how they dressed. And what they would do is this. If they walked by a group of men and they wanted to be incognito because they were the wives of the Prophet, they didn't want nobody kidnapping them, holding them ransom to try to get to the Prophet. So what they would do, all the women that was in the group, first of all, they never left the house alone. I want you women to listen to this. Back in those days, they were at war. The women, the female companions, none of them, they never left the home alone. When they went to answer the call of nature, they would all go in a group. And during war times, they would go at certain times, at a certain time during the day and a certain time during the night. See why you got to know that history. And so just so that the men, in case there was a spy, in case one of the Jews were there to pretending to be a Muslim to kidnap, so they wouldn't know who to take. Whenever the women would go at whatever time to answer the call of nature, they went in a group, 20 of them, let's say. And they all would walk. And then when they got to where the men were, they would all do this. They would take their khimar, like I got on, and they'd all do this. So that the only thing that could be seen is the eyes. So if there were any men around, they wouldn't know who was who. They wouldn't know. That's Aisha. That's Salama. That's Zainab. That's Atiyah. So that's what they would do. And then when they went past the men, they take it down. So that was, burqa is not part of the Arabic women's clothing. Do you think you can be better than Aisha? Aisha didn't wear no burqa, no niqab. You think you're going to ever get more blessings than Khadijah? Than Salama? Than Kanza? You ain't going to get nothing over them women. Or they would do this too. Another way the women would dress. This. They would draw their khimar forward. Y'all see how I got this? Like this. They would all go to answer the call of nature together. Look at this. You can't tell who I am, can you? All you can see is my lips, my nose. You don't know that I'm Laila. The female companions would pull their khimars to the front like this, like a hood. And they'd go out the house like this together in a group so that the people would not know who is who, so I don't have to worry about being kidnapped. They did this most of the time. And if you look in any library, you will see a lot of Arabic women like this with their hoods. Where do y'all think the hoods come from? Even in North Africa, the Moroccan women, the Egyptian women, hoods. They wore hoods to Arabic women. They didn't wear no neat burqas. Burqa is Turkish. It's not Arabic. Okay? So to answer your question, no, Allah is not giving you more reward for doing something that you ain't got to do. Do you think that you're going to get better reward than Aisha radiallahu anha? You out your mind. And Allah knows best. That's my heroine. Yeah. That's why I like hoods too. Exactly. Yeah. Any other questions? Let's see what, oh, I'm going down here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here's one. In the UK, mosques mostly follow Saudi rather than local moon sighting. Well, I'm going to tell you, your mosque is correct, not for following Saudi. There is no such thing. I repeat, there is no such thing. I repeat, there is no such thing in Islam as a local sighting. Nowhere does Allah say in the Quran that you have the choice of looking for a local sighting. Nowhere does the Prophet Muhammad mention that either. In fact, Allah says, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if one person sees the moon, he has seen it for the entire ummah. That's what the Prophet said. That's what Allah said. This local sighting is an innovation, a deviation that Muslims of today have come up with. And we wonder why Allah has sent the war here. We want to know why there's calamities hitting us all across the Muslim world. Because we have deviated away from the true Islam. We have incorporated into our religion practices that are not part of Islam. Okay? There's no such thing as a local sighting. The Prophet Muhammad said, we are one ummah. Anyone who sees the moon, and as long as that person is reliable, he's seen it for the whole nation. That's Bukhari. That's Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. So, and we don't follow Saudi Arabia either, because that's not what the hadith says. The hadith says anyone in the world who is reliable and has seen the moon has seen it for us all. Okay? The way Allah created the earth is round. The earth consists of different hemispheres that we have divided it into. The first part of the earth that sees the sun and sees the moon is Australia. The part of the world where Australia is. The people in Australia, they saw the moon with their eyes through satellites. That's the first call I got today. That's the first call I got. I ain't got a call from, I don't deal with Saudi. I don't use Saudi. Okay? The Halal Committee in Australia, they saw the Hilal. And then I got calls from other parts of the world. The United Arab Emirates, that's where I got a lot of family at. The United Arab Emirates, for the first time in history, they used a drone. They have a drone that they created that's a satellite. Their drone flew up into the sky and took pictures of the halal because it was cloudy. But the drone was able to go through the clouds and take pictures of the hilal. Okay? So the moon has been seen. Saudi Arabia claimed they saw it too, but they the last people I talked to. The people I got were from Australia and that part of the world, where New Zealand, Australia, that part of the world is where I get it from first. Not to mention Sheikh Morsi and the scholars. You know, the scholars let me know too. Okay? So the UK, you know, if they're fasting, they're doing the right thing. But there is no such thing as a local sighting. This is a deviation and an innovation. The Prophet Muhammad didn't tell us to do that. Allah didn't tell us to do that, and neither did the companions. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, did it one time. He was the governor of Medina. It was during the time of the Fitan, when the Mu'tazila, the Kharijites, and them had taken over. They wanted him to declare allegiance to Ali. And then you had Muawiyah, who wanted him to declare allegiance to him as the Caliph. Ibn Abbas remembered what the Prophet said. The Prophet said, when this happens, don't get involved. Stay in your homes. Don't choose sides. So Ibn Abbas was the governor of Medina. When Muawiyah sent the word telling him that he saw the new moon, Ibn Abbas used ijtihad. He said, wait a minute. If I take Muawiyah's sighting, the people are going to think that I am supporting him as the Caliph, when there's no way that I would choose him over Ali. He said, so I am going to look for a local sighting this year. That was a one-time thing. And he used his own judgment, which he was right for doing. But can he change the religion? No. Did the religion change after that? No. Did Allah send down a verse in the Quran saying, look for local sightings? No. We have to abide by the laws of Allah. So this local sighting crap is innovation and deviation. And maybe that's why Allah is sending all these calamities to us. All right? So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. But yeah, Ramadan began Saturday. So if the UK is following Saudi, that's their choice. But this time Saudi was correct. There was one year that Saudi Arabia was not correct. That's why I say we don't follow no country. We follow whoever is in that part of the world that sees the moon, who's reliable. And it hits Australia before it hits Saudi. I got the call from Australia. And the islands. Yep, and the islands over there. Exactly. And of course, Sheikh Morsi and all them other people too. Yeah. The brothers, you know, the brothers. All right. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, so I want you guys to remember today, Saturday rather, I'm going to talk.
There's more.
Oh, go ahead.
The first question is, what is the ruling on tying your tubes when your doctor recommends you to do so after several pregnancies and birth complications?
You tie your tubes because suicide is haram. Mm-hmm. If you had C-section, you can't have it a certain amount of times to do that before dying anyway. So if your doctor recommended you to tie your tubes, you tie your tubes. Otherwise, you playing with your life. And we don't play with our life in Islam. So you tie your tubes. Okay, go ahead. And
It's
you
been
will
a,
die. Women die. They die. Go ahead.
it's been a year since my cancer has been in remission. I'm on pills to help keep it on, not coming back. Can I try to fast?
Do you have to take those pills at a certain time each day? Or can you switch up the time to just twice a day, like in the morning and when you break your fast? If your doctor tells you that you have to take these pills at a certain specific time, then you can't fast. You pay the ransom. But if he tells you you can take them anytime during the day, just long as you take them, then you can fast. But if you're fasting and you start to feel sick, you start to feel like you're not yourself, you break your fast and pay the ransom. You understand? How long has it been for her? She said it's been a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can try, but if he says you got to take them at a specific time, like he tell you, you have to take it every day at 1 o'clock and you have to take it every day at 6 o'clock, no fasting for you because you fall in the category of ransom. But if he said you can switch the time up, do it. But if you start feeling sick, anytime you get sick, break your fast and pay the money for that day. And Allah knows best. And that's because it's in remission, but it can come back. That's a chronic illness. Exactly. Do you sisters understand, Michelle? Now you understand what a chronic illness is? Her cancer, once you get cancer, guys, it can always come back. It may stay in remission. But anybody that's diagnosed with cancer, it's no cure. It can always come back. So that's a chronic illness. There's no cure for it. It can only get worse. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Any other question? Go ahead.
If you're praying at home, can you pray with the Quran open?
Not if you're praying your obligatory prayer. If you're praying your obligatory prayer, which is Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, how can you concentrate if you got a Quran that you're reading from? There's no way you're going to focus on Allah. All you have to recite is the Fatiha anyway. All you have to recite is the Fatiha in every rakat. But if you want to pray the Taraweeh prayer and read the Quran, have it open, you can, because Taraweeh is a voluntary prayer, but not for the 5 obligatory ones. Does that make sense? Because you have to have that total, no. But for the Taraweeh prayer, if you want to read from the Quran as you're, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, yeah, you can do that with the Taraweeh, but not with the regular prayer. And Allah knows best.
What's the difference between people who broke their fast or missed days in Ramadan and ransom?
Ransom is only for people who fall in a specific category. The ransom is for people who are chronically ill, like cancer, or the elderly, somebody like my mother who's almost 100 years old, and fasting is a hardship for her because sometimes she just can't get up out the bed. She has no strength. Those are the people that pay ransom. You are a healthy person. You ain't got no problems. You got to fast and make days up. Ransom is for the sick, for the elderly, and for the mentally ill. People who suffer with schizophrenia and bipolarism, they are not able to fast at all. They pay the ransom because fasting would cause them to become chemically imbalanced. Pregnant women, they have to make the attempt to fast. But if they get sick, they can break their fast and pay the ransom because pregnancy is the type of sickness that gets worse. Okay? So if it's not in those categories, you don't owe ransom. You got to do like everybody else. because Allah made you healthy. Allah made you mentally fit. You fast and make the days up later. And Allah knows best.
And the last question on here is, say there's no internet and no way to connect with people, with others. How do we know when it's Ramadan?
Why would you ask a question that's never going to happen? At least not now. I wouldn't ask that. Why would you ask that question? What's the point? That day doesn't exist. As Muslims, we live in reality. We don't live in fantasy. If the day comes, when the day comes that Allah causes the bombs from Israel to fall on us here in America, then you can ask me that question. But until that day comes, we don't deal with what ifs. What ifs take you out of Islam. Okay? And Allah knows best. Yeah. Yeah, what ifs can take you out of Islam. They sure can. What if the sky falls down? Can I stop fasting now? We don't ask those type of questions. You live in America, 2025. So you ain't got to worry about it. And by the way, they don't have internet in Gaza, but they fasting. Why? Because they heard from the other people. Ramadan started. We got word of mouth. The people in Gaza are fasting at Saturday, and they don't have internet. See how simple that was? You just tell the people the moon was seen. The moon was seen. The moon was seen. That's how we do it. That's how the prophet did it. They get on their horses and they ride on their horses and say that go to the next town. The moon is seen. Or they would light fire. They all would have a fire thing on the top of the mountain. When you see that fire burning, you know it's the moon was seen. There's a lot of ways we get to know. But alhamdulillah, you got the easiest way because you're not in that situation. But just to let y'all know, the people of Gaza are fasting. And they don't have internet. But they knew it was Ramadan. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, that's amazing, ain't it? All the drama that they go through, all that war, and they still doing their duties to Allah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, Sister Lotus, you had very good questions. Thank you for bringing them here. My new shahadas, the other new shahadas, they said that they have benefited so much because you asked what they were typing too. Y'all all had the same questions. May Allah bless you. And I want everybody to remember to be here tomorrow at oh, by the way, y'all, is that sister's class tomorrow, Fame?
It was supposed to be last Saturday. She changed it to 2, right? But she didn't show up.
Okay. Well, don't forget tomorrow at 6:30, I'm going to be speaking about the intentions. Everybody have your intentions to fast now. The simple fact that you plan on fasting the whole month, that's your intention. Make sure you guys eat sahur. Because the sahur, although the sun sets early, yeah, the sun sets at 6 o'clock. I mean, come on, guys. This is a baby fast. If you guys can't fast at 6 o'clock, something wrong with you. But get up and eat some oatmeal. For the old ladies here, eat some oatmeal. Oatmeal will keep you, hold you, and have your coffee. My twins sent me mine. I'll be drinking all night. I'm going to be so geeked up. Oh, what a nice compliment. The brother here said, thank you, Sister Laila, for making everything easy. He said, I feel so good coming into Ramadan. Thank you for taking the time to teach us. May Allah bless you. I mean, oh, that was nice. All right, guys, I'm going to log out. Yeah, I'm geeked up. Drinking coffee. I'm geeked up. So inshallah, guys, be here tomorrow for my class. I'll try to put the schedule out tonight. And also, what Ooh, something's in my eye. I'm going to, since it's Ramadan, I want y'all to remember that my Zoom room is open 24 hours. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to join our Zoom room. And inshallah, we can help get your questions answered. And I'll try to put some lectures on later tonight, too. I'm going to try to keep some lectures going tonight, too, inshallah. Yeah, I'll log in my other computer. Yeah. All right, guys. So I want to thank everybody for joining and participating. Please support this Dawah effort. It's the first of Ramadan and the first of the month. We got to get the bills paid here for this website. Please support us. All right. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Happy Ramadan.